Hello and welcome. This is Nate Williams with Synergy Sports, and today I'll be going over how to format, customize, and style your tagging template. Now, if you haven't done so already, I highly recommend you go check out my video on the different buttons and clip types within the tagging template. That video goes into detail about the different buttons within the tagging template and how each of those buttons perform different tasks and functionalities. Now, once you have a new tagging or pre-existing tagging template open, you'll notice the various buttons at the top of the page. Manual, auto, label, and shell, of course, all have different functions and tasks, but for this specific video, we're just going to come in here and change the color, the format, and the style of each of these buttons. To get started, let's go ahead and draw each of these buttons onto our canvas. And I'm actually going to expand my window here just so that I know where exactly I'm drawing onto my canvas. So let's go ahead and draw our manual button here first, auto button second, label button third. And now let's draw a nice shell to incorporate the entirety of our tagging template. Now that we've drawn each of these buttons out, you might be sitting there wondering, how can I change the colors of these buttons, especially if you do not like the colors that are already attached to your button. Let's go ahead and select the manual button to begin with. And I'm just going to select this drop-down menu off to the right side here. Instead of selecting tags or properties, I'm going to select style. And now, as you can see, I have different drop-downs. I have a drop-down for color, text, outline, and image. All of these can be attributed to a specific button that you can ultimately change and mess around with. So let's go ahead and change the color of our manual button. And as you can see, it has a pink to it. So let's go ahead and just change that to a yellow. And let's do the same for the rest of our buttons here. So we have an auto button here. We can go ahead and change that to purple. We have a label button that's green. Let's go ahead and change that to a light blue. Our shell is currently in gray, and let's go ahead and change that to a light green. So now, as you can see, if these were the color schemes that I liked for each of my buttons, I've gone ahead and made those changes, and now I'm ready to use the specific tagging template. Now that I have my colors figured out, let's go ahead and change the text of our specific button. So instead of dropping down the color menu, let's go ahead and drop down the text. And again, make sure that you select the appropriate button that you want to change. So let's go ahead and select the manual button, the yellow button here first. And now, as you can see, I have it as Arial, and my font size is size 12. I can go ahead and change this to whatever I would like. If I wanted to make this to 20, 26, even down to small as 6, I could do that. Let's go ahead and keep it at 12. I could obviously change it to a different font style as well. I could make it bold, italicize it, underline it. It's currently underlined right now, so let's go ahead and undo that. We do have black for text. If I wanted to switch that to yellow, or excuse me, to white, I could go ahead and do that. If I wanted to align it to a specific side of the button, I could go ahead and switch it to the left, to the center, to the right, any which way that I could choose. And you can go ahead and do that for any of these buttons here. And again, if I wanted to do that for auto, I could go ahead and switch this to black as well. If I wanted to do that for the label button, I can go ahead and switch that to white. So you can really come in here and change the text to any color, font color that you would like. And you can also come in here and change it to sort of a bold, italicized, underline, or a different font style that you would like. Now that you've selected the font color that you want and the font size and everything that you want for the specific font for your button, now you can come over here and select the outline button. Now, as you can see, I have an outline of white for each of these buttons. If I wanted to change that, I can go ahead and do that. Again, just make sure that you select the correct button. So let's go ahead and go back to my manual button here. Let's select outline. And now, as you can see, I have a white outline of a border. If I wanted to switch that to any of these colors, I could. So let's go ahead and select black, and let's actually do that for the rest of these colors, or rest of these buttons here. As you can see, it is changing to black. Now, if I really wanted to make these borders stand out, I can go ahead and make these a little bit thicker, all the way up to 5. And now, as you can see, the different buttons have a nice clean outline to them. And now finally, you have the unique opportunity to add an image into any of these buttons here. So for this specific video, I'm going to add an image to my specific shell. So I'm going to select my shell button here, make sure that I'm not in outline anymore. I'm going to select image. I'm going to add an image from my specific computer. Again, you can add any sort of image that you would like. I'm going to go over here and just select the Lady Vols logo from Tennessee. And now, as you can see, the Tennessee Vols logo is attached to my shell. I can move all of these buttons away just so that I can see it. And now once I bring these buttons right back into my shell, it will be attributed to my shell, but I can now see that nice Lady Vols Tennessee logo attached to my shell. So now that we know how to format, customize, and style our tagging template, let's go in and actually make a nice, clean looking tagging template with all the styles, all the formats, anything of the creativity that you would like. Let's go ahead and make something that looks very nice and clean. So to create a tagging template that looks nice and clean, I'm going to go ahead and start with a shell. So let's go ahead and draw a shell onto our canvas here. And now I'm going to add a couple of the buttons into the specific shell. So I'm going to draw a manual button in here. I'm going to draw an auto button in here. And I'm actually going to draw 5 label buttons. And the reason for that is the label button, again, if you haven't checked my previous video on the different buttons and clip types, the label button is a great button to use for specific play calls or players. So I'm actually going to draw 5 here, and these are going to be my specific players. Now, before I do that, I'm just going to go in here and just change my manual buttons to have the appropriate tags. Now, I won't be tagging in this specific video, but I just want you to see the specific text and font that is on these specific buttons. So let's go ahead and select my manual button here. I'm going to come off to the right side and select this menu. I'm going to come over here to tags. I'm going to add a tag. And again, a manual button is a great button for offense when you just don't know when an offensive or defensive possession will start or end. So I'm just going to select offense here, close out of this here, come over here to my auto button. And this is great for a specific event or outcome. So let's go here and select 3-point field goal make. I'm going to close out of this right there. And now I have my manual and auto button for an offense and a specific outcome for a 3-point field goal make. So now let's go ahead and change the players for the labels. So I'm going to come over here and select each of these labels. I'm going to select this one off to the left here first. I'm going to add tags here, and I'm going to come in here and just type in the player's name. So I'm going to come in here and type in Benijah Blaney. Come over here, add tags, add Jonquel Jones. Add another player, Courtney Vandersloot. Add tags, another player here, Sabrina Ionescu. And finally, let's add one more player, Breanna Stewart. So now as you can see, I have an offense. I have a 3-point field goal make for my auto button. I have my 5 different players, Benijah Laney, Jonquel Jones, Courtney Vandersloot, Sabrina Ionescu, Breanna Stewart, and now as you can see, I have my shell here and it's still untagged. So let's go over here and change the name of my specific shell. I'm simply just going to select it here, add tags, and I'm going to name my team the New York Liberty. Now as you can see, I have all of these changed. And now this whole tagging template is good and ready to go. So as you can see, I have this tagging template built out, but there's a lot of different colors that are going on, a lot of different formats, a lot of different styles. So let's go in here and start to change these colors to make it look nice and clean. So I'm going to first change my manual and auto button colors. So let's go over here and select my manual button. I don't like the yellow. So let's go over here to style. Let's go over here to color. And let's make this a nice... let's go over here and make this a nice sort of teal looking color. So let's go over here, select auto button. I don't like the purple, so let's go over here and make this a nice gray. So now I have an offense and a 3-point field goal button with a nice teal and nice gray. And now let's go ahead and change the colors for my different players. Let's go over here and make this a dark gray for each of these. And now let's ultimately change the color of my shell. And now I'm going to make this a nice, let's take a look here. How does this look? Not the best. That looks pretty nice. So let's go over here and make this a nice little turquoise color here. And now that will look pretty nice for our New York Liberty tagging template. Now I do want to make this a little bit more cleaner. I'll take it a little bit of a step further. So let's go ahead and actually add some of these images to our specific button. So I'm going to actually add images to the specific players. So let's go over here and select Laney first. Again, I don't want to be in the colors properties anymore. I'm going to come over here and select image, select the plus button. And now I could come over here and select any sort of the images that I have saved here. So I have Laney right here. Let's go over here to Jonquel Jones, add an image. There's Jonquel. Courtney Vandersloot, Sabrina Ionescu, and finally, Brianna Stewart. So now I have my New York Liberty starting five. I have the color schemes for it. And now the last thing that I do want to do, let's add a nice image of the New York Liberty logo to our specific shell. So make sure that you select your shell. And now let's go over here, add an image. And now I'm going to select the New York Liberty logo. And now as you can see, I have the New York Liberty logo behind us. I have an offense, 3-point field goal make buttons, different players. I have the teal button to match the nice logo. For whatever reason, if I did not like the teal button for my specific shell and I want this to look maybe like a white, I can go ahead and do that and make it look clean as well. Now, the last thing I do want to point out in this video is that you can actually change the color of the canvas. Now, if you did not like the black color to your canvas, you can actually change that. So let's go over here and actually change it to that light teal for the New York Liberty. So let's go over here and select that. And now as you can see, it looks very nice and clean. My canvas is a nice teal looking light blue color. And I have all these different colors and different buttons into my tagging template, but it looks nice and clean. And now my full New York Liberty tagging template is ready to go if I need and want to use it. That'll do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Please check out other videos for helpful tips and tricks.